Let's talk about Oregon. That's why we're all here.
Is this me? My the baton has been passed.
The baton has been passed, Brad. You're gonna preview the Oregon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, game preview. We got the Oregon Ducks from Eugene, Oregon. Their second year in the league. They have yet to lose a Big Ten game in their whole entire history. Funny enough, right? Oregon, known as a modern power, always have the looming history over their head of 0 national titles, and there's a reason for that. This team was a dead program for the majority of their existence. 0 Rose Bowl wins throughout their entire, basically, just here and there conference title, and I think they won a Rose Bowl in 1916 or something like that. So I'm just going to fast forward because they were a dead program up until 1977. They hired Rich Brooks. Now, Brooks is a very common name, right? You got Aaron Brooks, you got Dylan Brooks, you got I totally fucked this up because usually I do the alumni, right? Oregon. What do you think of when you think of Oregon alumni? You want to go back and forth on this?
Well, I mean, we could do football players all day, but do you want to do actual Oregon alumni, who went to the school?
They got Phil Knight, they got John Madden, which is pretty crazy. You would think they would have tried to hire him at some point. Phil
Didn't
Knight,
Leonardo DiCaprio go there? Or am I making that up?
You might be making that up. Ty Burrell from Modern Family, Caitlin Olsen from Always Sunny, your boy Chael Sonnen from the UFC.
Yeah, Chael Sonnen. Yeah, the gangster.
Chael Sonnen.
The bad guy.
The bad
undefeated.
Boy. Yeah.
He's never lost, Brad. You know that?
Yeah. Eugene, Oregon, Tracktown, USA. It's where they hold the Olympic trials every year. Or not every year. Whenever they have the Olympic trials, it's hosted for track. It's always at Eugene, Oregon. A great track stadium. I don't know if you ever saw it, but fantastic venue. Marcus Mariota, personally, probably the best player I've ever seen live. And I've seen Gronkowski. I've seen Reggie Bush. I've seen Adrian Peterson. I've seen Christian McCaffrey. Marcus Mariota put up the craziest performance I've ever seen in the Rose Bowl. Literally had Jim Mora and Jeff Ulbrich, who are NFL guys, literally arguing on the sidelines about how to fucking stop this guy. They couldn't figure it out. And, obviously you got your Dan Fouts, you got your Sabrina Ionescu's, Dylan Brooks, Aaron Brooks, some good, just some good old, Oregon, modern day Oregon since the Nike deal. They've had some pretty good athletes come throughout the years. But, back to football, right? 1977.
Sid Parrish.
Yeah, Sid Parrish. Yeah, maybe she should be the guest picker. It's probably likely going to be Glenn Powell, so they promote that stupid.
I mean, he literally played quarterback for them. What are you talking about? That Indiana Soldier tweet was so funny. So funny where he posted the clip and he's like, had we let this team into our conference or something like that? And the Oregon fans were like, who's going to tell him it's a TV show? And the response was, wait, Glenn Powell didn't play quarterback for Oregon?
Wait, hold on.
Wait, you're telling me he didn't play quarterback for Oregon? Are you serious? So good, dude. So good.
So funny. All right, so back where I was saying, where I went on the tangent, because I love to talk about the alumni that come through Oregon.
I don't know where the Leo DiCaprio thing came from. I literally have no idea.
He rocks UCLA a lot of the time, actually, as an LA guy.
He didn't even go to college, or if he did, he dropped out.
I doubt he even went to college, to be honest. But yeah, they hired Rich Brooks in 1977, and honestly, first 10, 11, 12 years, really just whole lot of nothing, whole lot of 500 ball. That's kind of just what they were, right? They didn't have a whole lot of success up until around 1989. Rich Brooks hires an offensive coordinator by the name of Mike Bellotti. They go to their first bowl game that year. Their first bowl game in, God, freaking 26 years. Go to the first bowl game to win the Independence Bowl after going 8-4. Kind of rounds out, they go through a little spiel, and Rich Brooks is his last 6 years, they go to 4 bowl games, only won the 1 Independence Bowl though. And he ends up getting the Rams job. crazy enough, he got the Rams job. That's I saw him on there. I was like, look at that.
He parlayed Oregon into the Rams.
Job. You got the Rams job, NFL.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So naturally, they hire Mike Bellotti to become the new head coach in 1995, and that is really the catalyst of what we know Oregon football to be in 1995. They, in his time there, between 1995 and 2008, they go to, I'm counting live, 12 bowl games in 14 years. They win a Vegas Bowl, Sun Bowl, Holiday Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, another Sun Bowl, another Holiday Bowl. It's just a great run for those guys, including that 07 team that Ryan alluded to, right? The Dennis Dixons, the Jonathan Stewarts. That's when they were starting to get really cool. Like, they weren't getting crazy with their uniforms. They were mixing and matching, right? So they go like yellow, green pants, green helmet. They go, they go black, but it was always like the same like style, right? But it was just different colors. They just mix up the colors, right? And that was during that era. And during that Mike Bellotti era, around 07, very similar to the Rich Brooks Mike Bellotti. Mike Bellotti hires an offensive coordinator from New Hampshire by the name of Chip Kelly. Kind of a big name in the sport these days. He ends up, getting them to 2 bowl wins in Mike Bellotti's last 2 years, and he retires, becomes the AD, and naturally, as his first move as AD, hires Chip Kelly to become the head coach, and that was the real launching pad for Oregon to become not just a solid competitive football program, but a national contender, right? And that's when they made that leap, was that Mike Bellotti to Chip Kelly passing of the torch. And in 4 years, Chip Kelly never missed a New Year's Six Bowl. He went to a Rose Bowl, a BCS national title game, another Rose Bowl, and a Fiesta Bowl in his 4 years there. An unbelievable run, and obviously he ends up leaving, taking the Eagles job, right? Is that what happened?
Yep. Yeah, and then like destroyed their team from the inside and got
ran out
all
he would do. All he would do is like Josh Huff was really good for me at Oregon. I'm gonna trade all our guys to go get Josh Huff.
Well, he walked in there and he told their 2 best offensive players that they sucked basically, and they needed to change the way they were doing things when they had dominated the league a certain way for years. So like,
you shouldn't tell Shady McCoy how to run the ball. Is probably his
or mess with Deshaun Jackson when the dude's just running past people every week. I don't know.
And then and then they move on to Mark Helfrich, and he holds on to it for a little bit, still with the Chip Kelly guys, first year. Second year goes to that National Football Playoff, first ever college football playoff with Marcus Mariota. Having Marcus Mariota covers a lot of holes, right? when you have Marcus Mariota, a lot of your coaching flaws are disguised, right? Because you have this generational dual threat quarterback that can throw the ball 50 yards, but also run the ball for 50 yards at a given moment. And when you have that, it's going to hide a lot of flaws, because after that, Mark Helfrich went 9-4, then 4-8, and eventually got fired. And they hired Willie Taggart, who could not get that thing going at all, and probably didn't want to, because a year later he takes the Florida State job and probably had no desire of even considering to make.
He wasn't great there either.
Once again, right? So they had their little blip in the road. They hire Mario Cristobal, a great hire, by the way, after you see what they're doing at Miami. And he brings them back, right? Goes to that Rose Bowl in year 2, 12-2. They win it, right? And then, they have the COVID year. Things get weird, and they have the 10-4 year in 2021. And then Miami comes a calling. And when you're Mario Cristobal and you played on those U teams and Miami comes a calling, like, as tough as it is, like, we talk about the Oregon job and how, that's probably the best job in the sport, right? And to leave, that was pre-NIL though, right? So he leaves and takes that Miami job. Good for him. Go coach your alma mater. He's doing a fantastic job. Go bring your alma mater back, because they need it, right? And, obviously as a Cuban American from that area, like he wants to bring him back, right? And it honestly opens the door for Oregon to make probably one of the best hires in potentially the history of the sport, because this guy is still 39 years old in year 4. His name's Dan Lanning. He's the defensive coordinator at Georgia at the time, and he is one of the most young, promising coaches in the sport, there's a chance he's going to be at Oregon for the next 30 years. And that's just a scary thought, right? Like, he's a hell of a coach. They're going to have that Nike money. They're always going to have a good defense with Dan Lanning. And yeah, he's just taking them to another level. Holiday Bowl year 1, Fiesta Bowl year 2, and then they lose in the Rose Bowl year 3, where they were looking like the best team in the country. They were the only undefeated team going into the playoff last year. And people are quick to forget when you lose by 4 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, and how good they were last year. Now, the biggest question with him is that he's had Bo Nix, he's had Dylan Gabriel, and he's really had to, it's hard to find 3 straight good starting quarterbacks. It's very hard and very difficult to do. Just look at Texas right now. They're not, it's difficult, to get that. It's hard to get 2 in a row. So, going into 2025, Oregon has very high expectations, ranked top 10. They've, kept it afloat. They got wins over Northwestern, Oklahoma State. Not the most impressive wins, but they're getting the job done, and they're making it look really pretty. And then they go on the road and get that Penn State dub that we've all been talking about. And as bad of a loss as that was at UCLA, I think Ryan hit around the head. UCLA can be a trap at times. They always have talent. I don't think it said that game, watching it, said more about UCLA figuring it the fuck out, as opposed to it was like a bad coaching job from James Franklin, or like Penn State's bad, or anything like that. That's what it spoke to me. It was more so like UCLA always has a good athlete, and they always have talent. They just had to get their shit together, and they did. They give Jerry Neuheisel the keys, give him the call sheet, get it done. I don't think that knocks down Penn State's. They should be unranked, but I don't think it knocks down what I think of Penn State. I still think they're a top 25 team. They are a team that can beat anyone on a given day. That's just what they are. And yeah, and then that kind of just brings us to, and then they went to the bye, just like Indiana. And that brings us to October 11th, 2025 on CBS at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific time. That's important because that's where the game is being played, right? And it's an Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. And all time, Oregon is 2-1 against the Indiana Hoosiers. However, Indiana has won the last matchup. And I'm sure everyone's seen this clip over the past couple weeks or so. But Indiana is the last Big Ten team to win in Autzen Stadium.
I believe it was Crimson Cast. Either their channel or somebody on YouTube, it's on their Twitter account, posted the entire game, so you can go watch the game.
Hell yeah. Kickoff return. Fun one. Against Mike Bellotti. Mind you, that 2004 Oregon team went 5-6 that year. So, take it for what you will. But they have won in that stadium before, and
I think it's also important. Like, it's not Mendoza's first time playing either. What are your biggest takeaways from Oregon as a team? Because I have a bunch written down.
Say that again.
I said, what were your biggest takeaways from this Oregon team? Like, taking a look at them.
I've said a lot already in terms of what I think they are. Best O-line in the country. I think it's great that we got to look at Iowa before that, not just for the road environment, also just seeing what that O-line looks like for our D-line. They did a hell of a job, right? Like, our talent on the D-line could be the best they see all year. I mean, in my opinion, we're at the level of Ohio State and all those teams. Like, they're going to have their work cut out for it too. So I say all these things about Oregon, knowing that these guys also have their work cut out, because we've been talking since March about how good this Indiana team is, right? But
yeah, we're pretty damn good ourselves.
Yeah, biggest takeaway, great O-line. And in that results in Dante Moore really becoming a flourish. He's got that killer arm, always had it. I gave him a lot of shit in the offseason because I do think he makes a lot of mistakes, especially when he feels pressured, right? And I think he just hasn't seen that a whole lot this year because his O-line is so amazing, and he keeps his jersey clean. Jersey wasn't so clean against Penn State, but he was doing a lot of running, right? He was getting it done on his legs, had to. Penn State has really good defensive backs. So at times the guys just weren't able to get open. So he's had to get done with his legs. And Oregon's always going to have the good skill guys. As we mentioned, that stable running backs. We talked about our running back stable. It's probably the best, deepest in the country. It's Oregon. Like those freshmen, 2 freshmen breaking out kind of tilts the weight scale their way on that front. Not to say, our running backs are amazing, but, you have 2 great true freshman backs and then Whittington on top of that, who's a seasoned vet on that team. And then Lamar, mix him in there. He's had a great season so far. They're loaded, and they got hella good receivers. They probably have the best tight end in the country in Kenyon Sadiq. And on the defensive side of the ball, Mateo Ugalai, Dylan Tyneman, and Bryce Butcher. Those are legit. That is a legit 3-man stack, different at all 3 levels, very similar to Mikael Kamara, Fisher, and Pons. That is elite as it gets. Defensive side. It is not even about the players with Oregon. It's a Dan Lanning team. They're going to play really good defense. They always will. For the next 30 years, Oregon's going to have a great defense. Spoiler alert. Just letting you know. They're just going to be elite on that side of the ball. And so, with that being said, for me, and obviously we're going to get to the keys of the game, but for me, I think the most important thing is we got to get Dante Moore uncomfortable. We got to hit that guy. We got to make it. If we get a late hit, I don't care. Honestly, I think it's good. I think it might be good in the long run, honestly. A little first quarter.
Yeah, I was about to say, as long as it's early, I don't know about that. But
yeah, I'm just saying. I'm half joking there. It's we just got to hit the guy. We got to make him feel.
You're right. I
and get him to make a mistake or 2 or 3, and just make him uncomfortable and get that. What I saw from him as a freshman, just bring that back a little bit. Get him into.
He hasn't been uncomfortable at all this year.
Because that's what he was at UCLA. He was just uncomfortable. They had a shit O-line. They couldn't pass protect, and he was scared he was going to get blindsided every single play. He didn't trust his own line. And that's what happens. You get him to that point with our D-line that's fully capable of doing it. That will only benefit us. And that's for me, that's the biggest key to the game is touching Dante Moore, hitting him, making him uncomfortable, letting him know, making our presence felt.
I would 100% agree. I echoed that same sentiment when I spoke with Mark Rogers earlier, and I said if you can't get that guy on the ground, you might as well just shred the game, toss the game out. Then nothing else matters. Yeah. There were a couple guys on that defense that you didn't mention. The other linebacker, Tuoti, he's 260.
He's an end. He's listed as
Aaron Flowers, freshman safety. But all those guys, dude, all those dudes are athletes. Those guys are athletic. They don't exactly get up the field, right? And you can see it in their tackle for loss numbers, but you also see what they're giving up on the ground. They're not getting gashed. They're not a bad run defense. They're not the best in the conference, right? They're not allowing 60 yards a game like Iowa is. But that's a very talented defense. But to Ryan's point, probably relies a little bit too much on its ability to fly to the ball. And when you play against a team with Indiana with their ability to run the football and to put you in difficult spots, that half step is all this team needs. But I think their secondary and the athleticism in the secondary is definitely something to keep an eye on. And my biggest point is the other key. And if you want to jump into, keys to success, we can jump into that. Indiana needs to be able to run the football, and they need to force Oregon to commit more to stop the run. They need to grab one-on-one matchups on the outside and let Surratt and Cooper and EJ go try and win one-on-ones. Because with the way those guys fly around in the secondary, it's hard to move the ball against that team in the air. And if you allow them to rush the passer with 4 guys and get home, they're just going to sit in zones all day and beat you with speed.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. I will say yes, Oregon's DBs it's Oregon. They're going to have the best athlete at the given position, right? DB is somewhere where we can win, which is crazy to say. On the outside, both sides of the ball, I think we have potential to win. Especially, Evan Stewart being out for the year. That was their plan on being wide receiver 1. It's had to go to the true freshman, Dakarian Moore. Now he's got to deal with Pons. And then, Sharp, the longer of the DBs of the corner, is going to deal with Malik Benson. And then, Gary Bryant in the slot, that'll be a fun matchup for Boykin to have to handle him. If we do go a ton of man, we do go a ton of zone. So I'll see what the game plan is, but that is both sides of the ball on the outsides for me. Key to the game, because for me, like I just need to make the trenches a wash, so then we could make it. Then we just win on the outsides. Like that's the key to success, right? And obviously, that going into that is like getting to Dante Moore. That's going to make us winning on the outsides more feasible on that side of the ball if we're able to make him uncomfortable, get him to make mistakes, get him to throw a pick or two, and get some turnovers, right?
Yep. My second key, but we've been talking about it ad nauseum. You have to make Dante Moore uncomfortable. Again, Penn State, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss the entire game. If you look at the last touchdown that Dante Moore threw, there was a Penn State guy in his face, slid around him calmly, didn't look like he was breaking a sweat, was able to deliver the football. Again, if you let that kid sit there and let his talent just play and let those athletes for Oregon run through those zones, like it's tough to play 7-on-7 against these guys. But if you're playing tackle football and each unit's doing its job, like, yeah, this Indiana team's really talented and we actually match up really well.
Mm-hmm.
Key number 3 would be if the ball is turned over, tackle. Like, these guys are you cannot hang your head. And I know this isn't something this Indiana team has shown, and they really haven't turned the ball over much at all. But when you're playing in that environment, every inch matters. And when you're playing against athletes like that, like I've been saying over and over again, like they have a couple of defensive touchdowns. Like those dudes are going to look to take it to the house. Don't let a bad play become a worse play. Don't let a momentum changer ruin the game. Like if something bad happens, you're going to have to fix it immediately. Like somebody's going to have to make a play. Like there are plays to be made all over the field. So especially with the athletes those guys have in the linebacking core, in the secondary. Yeah. If you turn the ball over, tackle.
100%. Those guys are like we said, they always have the best athlete at a given position. They're more than capable of capitalizing on any turnover, any mistake we make, and it's on the guys to just not let that happen.
My 4th key to the game is special teams just staying steady. Brendan Frankie's been phenomenal, one of the best in the conference at kicking the ball into the end zone. I think he's just at a shade under 95% touchback percentage. The punters have been phenomenal, not exactly with placement, but with allowing or not allowing returns. I think Quinn Warren's got 3 of 4 punts inside the 20, and McCarthy's got 3 of 3. Oregon's punter is great. He puts everything inside the 20, but they're both kickoff specialists, hover around 75% in terms of touchback percentage. So Indiana, it looks like, is going to have the opportunity to return a kick or two. And if you can break one and flip the field, these are the momentum changes it takes to win a tough road game.
Yeah. Is that all your keys to the game? Because I have some players I want to call out.
No, I have one more.
Okay.
Mendoza has to cement himself as QB1 of the class. The quarterbacks don't face each other, and I know Dante Moore versus Fernando Mendoza is going to be a storyline heading into this game. But like this is just another opportunity for Fernando Mendoza to prove he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. And if that's the case, he goes into Oregon and has his best game of the season like he did against Iowa. And then
one thing with Fernando is that when the lights shine the brightest, the kid shows up. He does. Just look at all the game logs of all his biggest games over the year. Obviously, he's played in. Good news is that he's played in Autzen Stadium before. Bad news is that he was a freshman. Looked the part against the Dan Lanning defense. That Cal team didn't have a whole lot of support for him either. So you can't just pin it all on one guy. But it's the fact that he has played there before, I think, is huge for Indiana.
I have an honorable. I was gonna say I have an honorable mention too, and it's something other like to disrupt the ability to jump the silent count, whether it's a hard count, whether it's a fake silent count, whether it's something where like we saw what happened when Iowa's defense was able to time up the snap count and run at the snap. Like I know Dan Lanning and co are salivating at that, and the opportunity to be able to do that. There has to be at least some sort of fake or something to dissuade teams from doing that. So I'm hoping that the bye week and some more experience helps with that. But yeah, that is if you let these athletes, these freaks run at the line of scrimmage, forget it. Like you're putting yourself in a worse hole than like it won't be good.
100%. They got to figure out how to snap the ball on the road. I don't know if it was a thing where it's like we're not going to show our cards pre-Oregon, so we're going to go silent count for Iowa and then break out something new for Oregon during the bye week. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good way to even go about it, to be honest. I would like some game reps for that, to be honest. But yeah, they just got to figure out how to snap the ball on the road. It definitely is a big question mark for this team because it can get really weird really quickly, especially with that Oregon offense. They're able to get a score, and we're still figuring out how to snap the ball in a loud stadium. It's just we're beating ourselves at that
We're
point.
asking for we're literally inviting them into the backfield. Like you can throw all the tackle for loss numbers out the window. Like they're gonna live in the backfield.
Yeah.
Do you have a score? Oh, hold on. You want to highlight some players?
Well, yeah. For me, there's two guys, and they're on opposite sides of the ball for me in terms of guys that I'm not going to say step up because I think they've had great seasons so far, but these are guys that I want to shine in the moment, right? And on defense, Mikhail Kamara. Talk about making Dante more uncomfortable. I know the perfect guy to do that, actually. His name's Mikhail Kamara. He wears number 6 for the Hoosiers. That would be awesome. You know, I called him out because I still think there were plays to be made against Iowa they didn't make. I really hope it's I'm going to point to my pinned tweet on my Twitter right now, and like Mikhail Kamara, what are you prepared to do about it? I'm sure he's been salivating all week trying to bounce back and go make a play for his team this week. So I'm excited to see what type of plays he can make. Hoping for a strip sack from him. And then on the other side of the ball, Roman Hemby. I want a Roman Hemby legacy game. We got to establish the run up front. He breaks out a big touchdown run or two. This becomes a much more winnable game than what it was pre kickoff, right? If he's able to break one for a large touchdown and really just swing the momentum, that would be huge for this team. And then I'm going to call out, it's more of a prediction, but I'm still Ro Hardy pick 6. Book it.
I love it. And they're going to need a defensive touchdown, a big return, a return touchdown, a big run. Like they're going to need some explosive plays, and who else but Ro Hardy to make a big play? I love it.
Big games, like it's these big chunk plays that are going to make the difference. And, this game could be a fucking slugfest 17-13, but it could also be like Alabama Clemson, Deshaun Watson versus Tua back in the day, where it goes 45-42. Like it could be, and it's like, holy shit, these are the two best teams in the country. Regardless,
I think both defenses are too. I actually really like the under in this game. I think it's going to be a very because
I'm just saying, like this game is just two juggernauts going after it. So like anything's on the table for me. And I've just had a really, because I know you're trying to get a score prediction out of me.
No, I was actually going to. I was going to say no. I was going to say that I feel like the Oregon fans think when push comes to shove that they're going to be able to play that classic style of Big Ten football where they lean on you with both lines and they use their physicality to win football games. And I just think that is the exact game Indiana wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I would caution, not that caution's the wrong word, but it's like Indiana matches really well for a fight, like a slugfest and like a battle in the trenches. And I just think that if you look at where Oregon's biggest strength is, it's with their ability to recruit guys on the outside and difference makers. And I would look for them to try and exploit the problems Indiana's had in their secondary versus trying to dominate the line of scrimmage. Like I actually think the opposite of Indiana probably is going to want to shorten this game, and Oregon's going to want to have it be high scoring.
Mm-hmm. And that could work against them. Like you said, anything's on the table in this game.
Yeah, I'm pumped. This is game of dude. I titled this game of the year, Brad. Like I really think this is going to be the best football game of the year. Like this is 2 of the 3 best teams in the country. You can fit Ohio State in wherever you want, but like if Indiana goes in there and wins this football game, and I think they're going to go in there and win this football game, that is by far the best win in the country this year. It's indisputable.
The opportunity that this team has and finds themselves in is astronomical. It's
exciting.
Yeah, it's especially, I mean, it's going to be hard to jump Miami and Ohio State just the way they've looked, that Ohio State defensive unit, and then just Miami overall, kind of their impressive wins, kind of sweeping those Florida schools. Very impressive resume on their end. I still think the winner of this game should be number one, just based on resume and, because Oregon beating Indiana would probably be the best win in the country right now for any of those, current top 8 teams. So, yeah, I'm trying to think.
Alabama beat Georgia, so that's then the SEC fans would probably argue that one. You know what I mean?
Who's ranked higher right now, Indiana or Georgia? So
no, I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to think of who else could even be in the conversation or who's in the top 8. I don't even.
Yeah, and Bama lost to Florida State, so their resume just isn't as strong. It just can't be.
No, I'm with you. All right, score prediction.
Can you go first?
Yeah, I was back and forth. I was in between 2 scores yesterday when I was on College Football Express. I settled 24-21 Hoosiers. I like this football team, man. I think we have the better quarterback. I like our ability to run the football. I don't think Oregon is as good against the run. I think those defensive numbers would scare me a lot. The fact that they don't get in the backfield, the fact they don't create negative plays at a high level. You let this Indiana team stay on schedule and stay on script, and they're just going to go doot right down the field. The biggest thing that stuck out to me when I looked at the Iowa matchup was the fact that Indiana's explosive play rate was 8%. It wasn't great. Indiana is fully capable of taking what the defense gives them and going and going down the field. Indiana wants to run the ball 35 to 40 times in this game and then put the ball in Mendoza's hands and let him go make a play when they have to. And unless you see Surratt or Cooper start destroying some guys on the outside, I like Indiana in a smash mouth football style game, and this ends up being the biggest win of Indiana football's history.
Love it. I'm going to go with 33-30. Here's why. I think this has the ability to be a shootout, but I also could see it being a bend, don't break type field goal battle as well. See a lot of field goals. That's a 33-30. It's a 5 field goal score, right? So I could see it being like that. Bend, don't break. Teams are able to move the ball, but they're not able to quite get punched in. And then, eventually the floodgates will open at some point. And then it could become a shootout in the fourth quarter, which could be really exciting and become an instant classic. That's really what I want for Indiana, just be in an instant classic with Oregon. Obviously, I want the dub, but I think the main goal here is to just prove to the country that, we belong. And, you can get that job done without winning at Autzen Stadium. It's possible. But, yeah, I think the Hoosiers are going to go in there and get it done. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. But like I said, it's a coin flip. We're in the show now. These are how these games go. Once we're in the playoff, I'm going to be saying the same exact sentiment, right? I'm not going to be belittling teams and saying how we're just better than them. It's not the case. I would be lying to my audience if I was saying that. I think we're just.
I guess it depends on the matchup, right?
I think we're just as good, and who shows up that day, right? And I know Cignetti's guys are going to be ready to show up because we watched them in a West Coast game last year, and they showed up right away. I think it was touchdown, strip sack within 5 minutes, and UCLA's what the hell's going on? I thought this was a little Big Ten cupcake warm up here. Indiana's all of a sudden looking like a playoff team. Go figure, they were, and. Yeah, I'm anticipating the Hoosiers to get it done and shock the world and get a whole lot of people confused and talking, and it's gonna be a fun one. Afterwards,
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Yeah, I thought after looking into Oregon's team, I was gonna be more nervous going into the game, but looking at the fact that their defense doesn't get into the backfield, doesn't create negative plays, you're just going to let Indiana run their offense. Indiana's going to execute their offense. This team is not going to beat itself. They don't take stupid penalties. They're very, very well coached, very well schemed up. I'm excited.
If you keep letting Indiana get 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 or less, they're going to continue to march down the field. Shanahan's definitely cooking, in there. There's definitely things in the playbook that they're going to reveal. I think part of Cignetti's kind of gamesmanship is that he does save things for the big show, right? And like the double move against Michigan, right? Didn't see that all year till we saw it. So he's definitely going to have some things up his sleeve. This team's a lot more talented than they were last year, so there's a lot more things they can do. Obviously, people can call out, where was that Notre Dame, Ohio State? That was year one, guys. Year one. All right. That's a foundation season. And the fact that was the foundation season is insane, right? There's no moral victories, obviously, but that's an insane first season foundation piece for this team. And we talked about the year two jump. This team is fully capable of winning this game. Fully capable. Master of the eye test. It's my official title. I'm telling you, this team's fully capable.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
But like going to Autzen Stadium, it's just hard. It's just hard, man.
The defending national champion lost there last year. So I don't think anybody is looking at that place being like, it's an easy place to play. It's not. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, hoping for a Hoosiers dub. I think it's huge that our quarterback has played there before. That's something we had that Will Howard and Ohio State didn't. So we've actually, have our quarterback. That's really all I need. Like as long as the quarterback has played there, we're good. And then I almost forgot. Key guy. I talked to you about it yesterday. Key guy, and I think is really gonna obviously we have a Surratt and Coop and EJ. Great trio. They've been doing their numbers speak for themselves. They got 6 touchdowns each. Those boys are on pace for 18 touchdowns right now, considering we're gonna play 15 games, right? And right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
The guy who also played in that Oregon Cal game is Johnny Brady. And that's the old reliable for Fernando Mendoza. And I could see him having a sneaky good game coming up.
I think that's a good call out. I was asked
for Fernando and just being there for him. And band of brothers. Guys are going to have to step up in this game. It's just someone's going to have to be the hero, whether it's going to be Ro Hardy, Johnny Brady. There's several names that I could mention, right? Just unsung guys that really haven't made the biggest impact yet. Devon Boykin, right?
Yeah. I was posed the same question. Oh, I just knocked over a bunch of shit. I was posed the same question yesterday, and I went deep into the roster. And LeBron Bond might be redshirting, but if you're gonna look at Indiana's roster and who is the fastest guy on the team, he's got a legit argument. We know they tried to get him involved early in the season. I didn't look at the snap count numbers. I don't even know if he got on the field against Iowa. But if you're looking for somebody to take advantage over their middle, maybe a gadget play, maybe a jet sweep, that's somebody who we know has legitimate track speed, who does not have a ton of tape on him, and you don't know what to expect when you see him come on the field. The other number 6 for Indiana. So we'll see. But I like your Johnny Brady call out because I like the fact that they have the Cal connection, the fact they both played there together.
He's a senior.
Mendoza's comfortable going.
The older guys, we love talking about how we want to get these young guys.
And he's got legitimate speed as well. He reached over 20 miles an hour on his punt return early in the year.
Yeah, so it's that Bond take is the same as my Johnny Brady take. And Johnny Brady's going to get the nod because he's the older guy. That's usually how Sig does it. When push comes to shove, I'm going to go with the 22-year-old over the 20-year-old. That, I think that's great coaching. Really, it's so simple, guys. Play the 23-year-old over the freshman. It's that simple. Unless he's a 5-star blue chip like DeCorian Moore. Obviously different situations. We just don't have those guys yet. But win this game, oh boy, get anyone you want.
Yep, absolutely agree. Abel in the chat says unbiased prediction: Hoosiers 31, Duckies 23. I like
how unbiased is that, Abel?
Completely unbiased. You kidding me? He he literally said it. He said unbiased prediction. You're gonna then say his prediction was biased? That is actually insane.
I will say my prediction is biased. Unbiased. It's a coin flip. In these types of games, it just is what it is. Who's going to show up that day? Who's going to be ready to play? I know the Hoosiers are. The Ducks probably will be too. Dan Lanning's going to be on some shit, to say the least, right? And he's gonna have those boys fired up, and yeah, it'll be a fun one. Like this old school head coach taking on this young up and coming, like probably like push comes to shove. Like these are the two best coaches in the country with the two best quarterbacks in the country going up against two of the better like trench play guys. Like
it
feels
game
like
of
a
the
Madden
year.
preview. Like it
Game
feels like
of the year, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Game of the year.
I mean, gotta talk about that. Two best quarterbacks and two best coaches getting after it. Like
It's
CBS
exciting stuff, man.
CBS. This is where we are, guys. This is where we are. Less than 2 years from Akron. Less than. We're here.
Abel's asking, Sadiq ended the Penn State game with a limpy. Do we know if he's hurt? No idea. I haven't seen anything. I would expect him to play after 2 weeks.
I actually can give you an update. I have him on.
You can.
Unfortunately. Wait, is it bad if I start Sadiq?
Well, not if it's like a reverse jinx type thing, but if you're like, I'm going to start him because he's going nuts.
Because like I'm also starting Roman Hemby and Mendoza and potentially Coop. Like, I don't think it's that bad if I start him. Hold on. He's expected to return. He's questionable.
I would guess he plays.